So today's guest says, I believe in paying my share of taxes. I just don't believe in overpaying taxes. Welcome to episode 753 here on the Charlotte Mitchell Radio Show. As we open up Black History Month, we're super excited to have hanging out with us and joining us Pam Balentine Bell, CPA, my CPA. And today's topic is maximize your profits, essential tax strategies for small business owners. Again, welcome. Thank you for checking us out here on the Charlotte Mitchell Radio Show. Don't you move. We'll get right back and get started right after this quick intro.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Why y'all so happy?
You don't know? Charlotte Mitchell is on the radio.
It's time to get motivated, excited, and influenced. Why? It's the Charlotte Mitchell Radio Show, live from Richmond, Virginia. And now, here to motivate, excite, and influence you, Charlotte Mitchell.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Charlotte Mitchell Radio Show, broadcasting live from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia, but heard and seen all across the World Wide Web. Thank you certainly for those that are checking us out in a couple of places on Facebook. Listen, Instagram, we are excited to have you in on the party as well. YouTube already got it jumping. Kim, Deborah, Joe, Roberto, Marilyn, thank you for hanging out with us over on YouTube. And then certainly anywhere that you're listening to the podcast version, Apple Podcast. Also, we're on Amazon Music. Thank you for those that are new listeners there, and Spotify and all the places. So we're excited to have you here. Episode 753, kicking off Black History Month here on the Charlotte Mitchell Radio Show. So listen, I got a shout out to my mom. She's always going to be there holding it down. Hey, mom. Hey, girl. Hey. And so as you are coming on in, I know this topic and this subject is something that our business owners, our small business owners, our entrepreneurs, our dualpreneurs, you got a side gig, you are going to want to keep it locked on today, because we're going to be talking about maximizing your profits, essential tax strategies for the business owner. And we have our amazing guest, Pam Balentine Bell, in the virtual studio right now. So go ahead and hit share and invite someone in to check this out with you while you're checking us out. And I gotta just say, thank you for all of the love that I've gotten received on all of my pages, because on February 2nd, I celebrated 7 years in full-time business as a full-time business owner. So thank you so much for all of the love and all of that. And certainly this show, the Charlotte Mitchell Radio Show, has been a big part of the journey and the story. All right, but let's get to what we're going to be talking about today. So again, hanging out in the virtual studio, in the virtual green room, she might be enjoying some virtual snacks. We have our guest that is with us, Pam Balentine Bell, CPA. And listen, she was born and raised in Flint, Michigan. She has always been a high achiever, graduating as valedictorian of her high school class. She went on to get her bachelor's and master's degree in accounting from Michigan State University. She spent a number of years working in auditing roles for Fortune 500 companies. And then as a part of that journey, the entrepreneurial spirit jumped on her and bit her, and she established Viking CPA Group back in March 2013, has been running the firm full-time since 2017. And today she is all about specializing in helping small and mid-sized business owners with the tax preparation, tax planning, advisory services, and accounting solutions. And I have to also mention that her expertise even goes into the classroom as an adjunct professor. So put your hands together and put a big round of applause there. Insert that in as we welcome up to the mic, up to the stage, Pam Balentine Bell. Woo!
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm trying to match your energy. Like,
listen. We got some cheers that's coming in.
Yeah, I love it.
Awesome. Certainly No stranger to the show, back by popular demand, as we would say. And we're just excited to just have this chat with you. And I said before we came on air, I know you're about to be like in the crazy busy season, so we're catching you ahead of schedule, right?
Yes, thanks so much for having me. I will pause anything for you, Charvette.
Oh, thank you. And yes, listeners, and yes, viewers, this is my CPA. So I have personally worked with her and can attest. I've had some other experiences, but once I got to Pam, we've been all good. And so I'd love to, jump in because tax season here. A lot of times people first things they're thinking about, right, are like tax deductions and write-offs. And so what are some of the most overlooked tax deductions that small business owners, should be taking advantage of?
Oddly enough, the number one overlooked deduction is mileage. A lot of people don't track their mileage. We drive everywhere, to
Wow.
networking events, to client meetings. If you got to go out of town, like all of that driving adds up. Like I think this year is 70 cents per mile you can deduct. So that is one of the most overlooked expenses that can really add up and make a difference on people's tax returns. I think another one, cell phone usage, right? So we all have our cell phones. It's probably in our personal name. We pay for it out of personal funds, but we can prorate that with the business usage versus personal usage. So that's one thing a lot of people overlook as well. So those are probably the two that I see.
Yeah, so the mileage one I think is interesting because probably, like you said, people don't think about, and it's probably the tracking of it that kind of gets people. Are there tips you have for like ways to track it?
Sure. Couple things. One, if you have QuickBooks Online, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a second, but please get that. Inside of the app, there is a mileage log. So after your trip or after you drive, it's almost like a dating app. You swipe left for personal, right for business, or something like that. There's an app called Mile IQ that a lot of people can leverage. Very similar. After you get done driving, it's going to ask, was it personal or was it business? And then people who do not keep one that may need to backdate it, leveraging your calendar. Like if you have all of your meetings on your calendar, just go back, add up the mileage. But it has to be a business reason, right? Who did you meet? What did y'all talk about? Like all that should already be in your meeting event calendar notes. So that's another way that people can do it.
All right, wonderful. And the cell phone usage, I think people definitely don't think about that because a lot of people will use, that is their business line, quite honestly. And so, all right, wonderful. And so, what about some common mistakes? So we talked about a couple of things that are overlooked, but what are some common mistakes that business owners make when like claiming deductions that could raise a red flag with the IRS?
Sure. One of the things is not having proper documentation. As a tax preparer, please don't send me the box of receipts, but you should have the
right. Like, Pam, I got it all here.
No. So just maintaining those receipts will make you more audit proof. So in the rare case that you're audited, the IRS can eliminate some of your expenses or deductions if you don't have the documentation to support it. Another mistake is really just claiming a lot of personal things. And it just got to make sense. Like some people want to write their entire life off, and I'm not going to say yes, I'm not going to say no. It really depends on the person's business, but that is one mistake that I see is just people commingling their funds, using their business funds and bank accounts for personal things, and then just like, oh, it's there, I'm gonna write it off, when that's not the case.
Not the case. Welcome. If you're popping on in, we're chatting with my personal CPA here, founder of Viking CPA Group. And we're trying to help you maximize profits, right? Maximize profits. Keep more of the money that you are bringing in. And so QuickBooks Online, which is what we leverage and is available. Do you find that is something that's even the online on the computer and on the phone is a way that people can kind of attach their receipts as things are happening?
Yeah, you certainly can. They have all kind of modules and apps where you can just email it to QuickBooks or take a picture and it's already in the platform. So then you don't have to keep up with all the paper receipts because one, that's overwhelming to have that in our virtual world. No one wants all these papers. And then receipts fade over time. So just
Yes,
making
they
sure that,
do.
yes, they fade. So if you get audited from 2 years ago, like, yes, I have my receipts and then they're all faded. That's not helping you either. So just finding a system or a way to scan it, upload it, put it in QuickBooks, create a folder on your desktop, whatever makes the most sense and the most efficient for business owners.
Great. And it's all about efficient. Do y'all kind of feel like how calming it is to that Pam is just calming and relaxing and like literally like this is her tone. I referred someone to you and they were like, do they like a doctor? Do they have good bedside manner? Is in the equivalent of what the person I was like,
Sure,
yes. Pam is amazing. And you won't have that like hyper because when you're talking about money, right? It's close to the vest. It's
for
for some
sure.
people it's kind of touchy, right? And
Exactly.
so, how have you found, just kind of working with people and kind of assuring them that you have their best interests in heart? Any things that you do to just help clients?
Yeah, I mean, majority of the things that they have anxiety about or they think is a mess or they think is broken is really not that bad. They just didn't have people educate them on what the process is. And so that is my whole preface of my business is I just want to educate you first. Like let's walk through what could have been, what should have been, and what we're going to do, and then we'll implement that. So everything has a solution for the most part. Dealing with the IRS is stressful, but I do that for my clients so they don't have to. But
Right.
just really educating them on, okay, it's bad. I know you have anxiety. It's not that bad. Here's what we can do to fix it. Here's the projected timeline because that's important too. And then, here's what we're going to do to implement it. So I always tell people like when I meet with my clients, sometimes it feels like a therapy session more than an
Uh-huh.
relationship is like, okay, girl, calm down. We got you. But,
Right, right.
it's no, I don't want people to freak out. It's
Yeah.
always things that we can do or find out information and get everything resolved.
And get it resolved. I love that.
Mhm.
Hey, Kim, thanks for popping in over on YouTube. And so let's talk about home office deductions because I was
Mhm.
wondering if that was going to like even make it in the missed list, but maybe that's one that people try to incorporate more now. So for business owners that are like working from home, what are
Mhm.
key qualifications they need to really be able to claim the home office deduction?
Sure. And a lot of people not missing that these days.
Right.
I work from home. What can I do? So with working from home and having a home office, per the IRS, it has to be a designated space specifically and solely for business. So I tell people all the time, like you can't just pop a computer at your dining room
Mhm.
table and call it your home office next to your son and daughter eating. Like that's not what the IRS define that as. So it has to be a carved out space where you work and it's solely you working. So with that, you take the square footage of your office space and compare that to the square footage of your entire home. And whatever percentage that is, we can then apply that to pretty much all of your household bills. If you're
Okay.
renting, we can apply that to your rent. If you own your home, we can't do the full mortgage payment, just pretty much the interest and the property taxes. But still, all of your household utilities, whatever it takes for you to run your household, then we can apply that percentage for your home office deduction.
Awesome. And this is for small business owners. Does this come up for people who are like, hey, I work for a corporation and I work
Mhm.
from home?
It comes up, unfortunately, it is no longer applicable for people who have a W-2 position who work from home. That
Mm,
occurred with the Tax Cut and Jobs Act in 2018 during Trump's first administration.
mhm.
But all of the things that was put in place during that time are subject to go away in the end of this year. So we don't know what's going to happen. So to be determined on that. But currently, the way that the law is set up, those who work from home who are full-time employed with a W-2, unfortunately, cannot take the home office deduction as they could prior to
Right.
2018.
And
Mhm.
this is one thing that I love about you. I feel like you stay knowledgeable, or you will go and look for an answer and send me an email and like cite like where it's found
Yeah.
in the law, and where it's like you are very thorough with that. So speaking of the like really the political climate, and
Mhm.
I've heard things on TikTok like if you're found you get ready to file taxes, it's going to take longer and any of that. Do you have any heads up about what kind of impact there might be with filing for this year?
Currently, no. That is subject to change. But let me tell you something. I met some IRS agents at a conference I went to next week. I'm gonna put them on speed dial because I need
Like,
some insight. I need to know. But currently, no. I mean, first of all, from COVID on, the IRS has already been slow.
yeah,
So hopefully it's no further delay. I hadn't heard anything for real,
okay.
come directly from the IRS, but to be determined.
To be determined. All right. So, still keep on doing what you're doing, people. Just keep on
Yeah.
doing what you're doing. Speaking of which, are you accepting new clients?
Of course, we're happy to help anyone who needs help with tax preparation, tax planning, or accounting work.
All right. And what levels of business owners and businesses do you all support?
You know, I feel like it's a wide range. So even people who are brand new, starting side hustle or starting full time, like I said, I like to lead with education, and they're going into unknowns and areas they don't know about probably. So happy to help them, as well as established businesses who've been doing this for like 10 plus years. I feel like we can service everyone.
Oh, right. And then what about, LLC versus S Corp versus C Corp versus nonprofit?
Yeah. We don't do a lot of nonprofits, honestly. For our clients who have a business who also spun off into a nonprofit, we service them, but that's not typically our target audience. We do single member LLCs, multi-member LLCs, which is partnerships, S corps, and C corps. And then we also help LLCs identify if they should be an S corp, or kind of run some analysis to see, is it time? When is it time? Why should you do it? And educating you on that, because people all over TikTok and Instagram, like, you need to be an S corp, and they're not explaining why, and then the compliant factors that come with that. So we
Yeah.
also help our clients determine that as well.
Yeah, that was awesome beginning to work with you. And you're like, yeah, you should be, years back, you should be a S Corp. So you were very like forthcoming and sharing, the change there. So that is
Mhm.
always amazing. So how should they reach out to you? Does it start with like a complimentary consultation first?
Absolutely. So we offer complimentary consultations, usually about 15 minutes. People want longer, but I can do a lot in 15 minutes. Like, we can
Yeah.
get deep in 15 minutes and get all the information that I need. And then from there, we can kind of outline what next steps would be. If it's okay, we do need more time, we can outline what that looks like. Or if you're ready to move forward with any type of services, we can send over proposals and quotes and go from there. So it always starts with a consultation where people can either email me or message me on Instagram. Yep, Pam the CPA, that handle is there, or go to the website and request a call back.
All right, there you go. And so continuing kind of this conversation around business structure and really kind of tax implications. So how does choosing between an LLC, S corp, or even a C corp
Mhm.
impact a business owner's taxes?
Sure. So there's as no one size fits all for sure. And then there's no reason you're locked into one entity. However, a lot of business owners start as LLCs. It's the quickest and easiest to form, and you may not know what direction your business is going in, right? So starting with that LLC, you're filing your taxes. So one thing to note, as an LLC, your personal taxes and your business taxes are all on one tax form. So you're on your 1040, your normal tax return you file, plus a Schedule C. So that is how we file taxes for single member LLCs. However, with that, because you are making business and you're profitable, but you're not paying taxes on any money, you have self-employment tax as an LLC. As an LLC owner, you are no longer on W-2 with your business either. That's not compliant. So for those of you who are an LLC, single member, and you're paying yourself on payroll, don't do that. So just don't do that. But you're not paying payroll taxes on those funds. You're not paying income tax. So you have your income taxes and your self-employment tax, which covers those payroll taxes, all on your LLC. So as you can imagine, as your LLC grows and becomes more profitable, so does that self-employment tax. It just continues to grow because that's at about 15 point something percent. So converting over to an S corp is twofold. It allows you as an owner to be on payroll because that is one of the compliance factors. So if you are an S corp and not on payroll, do that. And it also helps eliminate the self-employment tax because since you are on payroll, your share of earnings are already being taxed for payroll tax. So it sounds complicated, it sounds overwhelming, but ultimately business owners can save tens of thousands of dollars in taxes by switching over to an S for sure. Right. And it comes with some analysis. It comes with extra costs, right? So you got your payroll taxes. It's more complex to file because now you have your own separate business taxes. So it warrants having a discussion with your tax preparer to say, okay, what is my cost benefit analysis of staying in LLC or switching to an S corp? C corp may also be a factor or a consideration depending on what your business goals are, what your revenue is, because along with the first Trump administration, the tax rates for C corps have changed versus what they were historically. So, it really depends on getting that analysis done, what your business is doing now profit-wise, what your goals are in the future, and then just making those conversions and switches.
Wonderful, which is why it's so important to work with a professional like you. I remember you kind of saying like, hey, when we convert, like you should be saving like 15 to 20%, like different, like you were able to kind of do that analysis and say, this is the percentage that you're going to be saving. If you're just popping on in, hey, you're checking out the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. We are in episode 753, Maximize Your Profits, Essential Tax Strategies for Business Owners. We have my very own CPA here, Pam Balentine. You might see Belle if we tagged her on Facebook. A founder of Viking CPA Group is with us. So, all right. So you touched on record keeping. So, and you kind of already talked about like having that QuickBooks online or some online way to capture your receipts and things of that nature. Does Viking CPA Group provide bookkeeping services where someone could say, hey, this is the part I'm getting bogged down with. Can someone else do this?
Absolutely. So, having that bookkeeping and accounting is the foundation of any type of tax preparation or even tax planning. How can you plan for numbers you don't know? How can you make business decisions if you don't know your numbers? And I mean, as business owners, we trust our gut and we go off of that. But sometimes you need hard data and hard facts of, can you hire someone else or are you priced accordingly? So that all comes from your bookkeeping. So we certainly do provide that service for our clients to kind of educate them on what their numbers are, show them what that looks like in a report form. So then they're educated and can speak about their business from a financial standpoint.
And can you make a distinction of when someone sees that someone is a bookkeeper versus someone is a CPA? Can you just kind of explain the differences there if someone is just providing bookkeeping services?
Sure. And it's levels, right? So if you're brand new, you may not need a CPA to do your bookkeeping. You can probably get a bookkeeper, but a lot of them, and no shade, because there are some great bookkeepers out there, but a lot of them are simply data entry. They're taking your information, putting it up, and then you get a report, or you may not even get one. They may just be doing it in the background. So, that is essential and a key part of that. However, if you go to a CPA who also provides bookkeeping services, you will get those monthly or quarterly meetings to go over the reports. You could get, hey, based on these numbers, this means this for your taxes. Here's some strategies. Here's some things we need to put in place with that. So you get more strategy, more planning when working with a CPA. I mean, there may be some bookkeepers who also provide that as well, but having someone who also does your taxes, who has that knowledge is priceless.
Well said. Well said. And estimated tax payments. So for those
Mhm.
that are, not on payroll, not S corp, but LLC,
Mhm.
some people, I don't know if there's enough discussion around estimated
Right.
taxes. And so can you like tell the viewers and the listeners what estimated taxes are and just
Mhm.
generally like, hey, this, stay out of trouble and not have this big balloon payment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's what you should do. Yeah.
Sure. So the IRS says anytime you owe them more than $1,000, you should be paying them estimated quarterly taxes. And so a lot of that stems from business owners who are profitable. So if you are on that LLC, you're making money that's not being taxed, you file your taxes, surprise, you owe $8,000. So that means you should have been paying quarterly taxes over the course of the year. One, as Charvette mentioned, you don't have a huge tax bill due at the end of the year that you've got to get in. And then two, there are underpayment penalties if you owe more than 1,000 and you did not pay quarterly taxes. So to help avoid penalties and help giving more money to them that you do not need to give to them, that's when you can estimate quarterly taxes. And that's also one thing that working with a bookkeeper or accountant, CPA, whichever one you have on your team, when you look at your reports quarterly, you can then gauge how much you should be paying in your quarterly estimated payments. And it's not a filing, it's nothing to file formally as far as form wise. You just go to the IRS website and make a payment.
All right, there you go. There you go. And that's why you want to have a professional like yourself. So, one more time, let our viewers and our listeners know all of the types of services that Viking CPA Group offers.
Yes, so we do accounting services, tax preparation and tax planning, and just general business advisory services.
All right. And how can they request a quick 15-minute call to see about working with you?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Pam the CPA or go to our website at vikingcpagroup.com.
All right. Hey, KG on Instagram, we see you and we have tags. So if you are on YouTube, look down below in the show notes. We have put all the tags there for Pam. If you're hanging out on charvette.com, we have her full bio, all of the links there. If you're listening to the podcast, look down below in the show notes and we have everything linked. So it's easy to connect with Pam. Facebook, Instagram, her company, and all the links are right there for you. And go ahead and subscribe to our channel on YouTube and subscribe to and leave a good review on our podcast. All right, Pam. I'm telling you, our time just flew by, and so
That
I
did
honor
go
your time.
fast.
So the last question I have for you, the goal of this show is to motivate, excite, and influence, and we want to
Okay.
know what continues to motivate Pam.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a loaded question. I would say top two reasons. One, education. So seeing my clients get that light bulb moment when I'm explaining something to them that never made sense before always motivates me to keep going and also lets me know that what I'm doing is important and is valuable. But then two, as you mentioned in the opening of the show, kicking off Black History Month, but representation really matters. And in the world of CPAs, less than 2% are Black.
Mhm.
So when you see CPAs or accountants on TV, you don't see Black people. You don't see Black women. You see old white people with pocket protectors, thick glasses. Like it's just, you don't see a lot of Black people. So
Right.
representation matters. The enrollment for Black students wanting to be accountants or CPAs is
Yeah.
drastically decreased. So that
Wow.
really motivates me to keep me going as well.
Well, thank you for representing us so very well. And we just look forward to continued success for you, your business, and all the things. And thank you so much again for all those that are here that are even checking us out later on. Just put a hashtag replay and go find Pam. And we will see you later on the web. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. All right. Woo, it is a wrap today. Listen, this was like light class, like an Oprah life class, like boom, boom, boom. I hope you had your notes. I hope you were listening. I hope you were paying attention. And I can attest, I see the hearts that just went up. I can attest that Pam and Viking Group, CPA Group, on board, top notch, professional. And I can't say that for all of the CPAs I have worked with in the past. I don't out anybody, but I've been with Pam for several years. I want to say probably 6 years now, at least 5 or 6 years. And so I can attest to that. All right, it's a wrap. Again, thank you so much for being here as a part of our Black History Month. We'll be back next Tuesday. We'll be back next week with a more amazing guest that we are showcasing and featuring, as we always do here on the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. All right, it's a wrap. We'll see you all later. Thanks, Instagram, for being in here with us. I know our experience is new and different over there. Y'all holding it down. I'll see y'all later. Bye.
Live from Richmond, Virginia, you've been listening to the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. Catch Charvette Mitchell every Tuesday at 6 p.m., interviewing all the stars you want to hear from. So until next week, stay motivated, excited, and influenced. This is the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show.